Hi, welcome to the 9th episode. At the end of this episode, you have learned the 7 steps how to create value. Now, for me, creating value is more about being than doing. Being, I really mean that you are in the meeting, in the conversation, and connected with the other person. You're actually in a kind of co-creation modus. What is actually co-creation? Co-creation is the thing, if you look at a music group, people are playing together, everybody is playing their parts, and the total is more than the sum of the underlying parts. Now, what is the first step is actually have the intention. What does that mean, having the intention? This means really when you enter the meeting that you say to yourself, I'm going to create value for this person. And the intention is, how can I serve you? The intention is not what's in it for me, thinking about money or your commission. No, really your intention is you're going to meet a person and you're going to create value. This will frame your mindset, and your whole being will actually do everything to create value for that other person. The reason why this is so important is that otherwise you're still thinking about where have you parked your car, or the groceries you have to do, or that email that has to respond it, whatever. You're actually physically there, but not mentally. And by having and setting an intention, you will do that. Now, non-verbally, the other person will feel that, will sense that you actually have this intention, and that you really are there and connected in the meeting. Now, the second step is actually to engage with the person who is with you. So you're actually there and you're actually sensing everything. So the verbal and non-verbal communication that other person is sending you. This means, for instance, when the person is talking and he's opening his mouth, that you sense that he or she is wanting to ask you a question or to say something. Of course, it's something that you have to feel, that you have to sense, and that you can train by just doing. And you will, after a while, it's your intuition who is going to tell you, this person, he didn't understand me. It's really simple. It's really the same as you're talking with friends. With friends, you're in kind of flow state and you know exactly what you need to do or don't do. Right? It's actually the same thing. You can come and think that the person is actually your friend. Now, this is very important because 80% of the communication is non-verbally. Now, being present means that you really are in the meeting. Now, the third step is that you ask relevant questions. Of course, you can prepare some questions, especially when you're doing it for the first time. It's good to have some questions prepared. Make sure that you have memorized these questions so that they feel natural, because otherwise the person will feel that it's prepared, which is actually okay, but don't give the feeling to the other person that you are interviewing him, or even better, or even worse, that you are like a police officer and doing an interrogation. Now, this does not mean that it's about small talk, not at all. What are typical examples of questions? For instance, what are your main challenges? What is happening around you which is going to impact you towards the future? What is keeping you awake? Now, very important is, if you meet somebody and you're going to ask them immediately what are your challenges from the top, that can be very direct. So again, you have to sense your intuition, you have to sense when is the good time to ask that question. Very important is that you, when the person is responding to that question, that you don't judge or you don't make assumptions who that person is based on some things you hear. Now, the fourth step is deep listening. Everybody knows what listening is, but it's not because you know what listening is that everybody knows what really deep listening is. And deep listening is really listen to the other person, meaning also that the thoughts which are in your head, you're actually going to calm them, and you're not thinking about a reply to what that person is saying or a story. No, you're just listening and giving the other person your full attention. It's also good when he's talking that you write something down, and once the person has finished talking, or you ask another question because something is not clear, which gives the other person really the feeling that you're really interested, or you can elaborate on the thing that the other person is saying, so that you keep the dialogue going. So the fifth step is actually you're going to reply or respond from your intuition. you are confident about yourself and the product and the knowledge and the service that you are selling. So instead of just pitching something about your product based on the input, the intelligence that you got from the other person, you can actually create and be creative and build a story to help that other person solving him or her with his challenges with the help of your product. If that's not the case, that's also fine. And then you can say, for instance, that you don't see an opportunity and you explain why. And in the meantime, you're actually explaining your product. And the other person will really appreciate your honesty and direct communication. So that other person is actually benefiting from the information that you're giving. Another way of actually delivering value is that maybe somebody in your network can be interesting for that other person, and that you can introduce that person to him or to her. And remember, if you introduce another person to the person you are seeing, you're actually winning 3 times. You're winning for the person you just met, because he will think, oh, somebody's doing something for me and I didn't get anything in return. The other person who you are introducing can also learn something from each other. And for you win both times, because they will see you as a trusted advisor and you will gain trust. Now, creating value does not mean you're going to give away things for free. Not at all, in the contrary. So it's really about thinking win-win. The 6th phase is actually the co-creation part. It's really where you have enough questions, you have enough information, you have explained something, you're going to discuss the what's and the how's of a possible collaboration. It can also be that there is no fit and maybe you're looking for another way of collaborating. This means that he or she does not need it right now, but maybe towards the future, or another person in the organization can benefit from your product or service, or somebody in his network can benefit from your product or service. And you will feel that immediately when you're in the co-creation part, where it's really a ping pong of a conversation. And everything is going by itself actually. The 7th step actually is the conclusion. It's really, or the closing, it's really where you come to a conclusion at the end of the meeting, that you agree on an action point or commitments or just a conclusion. You can work together and then you create maybe a next meeting or something else. Or you don't work together, but maybe somebody in his network can be introduced to you. When there is no collaboration possible, this means, for instance, that you add each other to your social networks. You can also ask if you have provided value, even though there is no possible collaboration. At least you have checked that the other person has received your message that you want to bring. So the conclusion can be, you can mean something for each other and you create action points. So this means, for instance, a new conversation, new meeting, a phone call, and you agree on the timing. Actually, I will open my calendar and immediately book the next meeting. The second option is that there is no collaboration at this moment. The other person does not need at this moment your product or service, which is fine. Maybe he can refer you to somebody in his network, or you agree that you're going to connect again within 6 months or 1 year. Thanks a lot for your attention. I'm looking forward to your opinion and comments. If you like this type of content, click the like button below, or even better, the subscription button. I want to thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye, and see you next time.